Are you tired of feeling like you have so much to offer in your work, but it's just not coming through? Watching what everyone else is doing and wondering whether that will work for you? Stop that right now. You've come to the right place, because here on the Cosmic Queen podcast with me, Rachel Starr, you're going to discover your genius, your gifts, and how you can use your iconic cosmic blueprint to create the business and lifestyle you crave. I started my business as a side hustle alongside my successful career in tech. When I had my son during lockdown, I knew it was time to leave the corporate jungle for the entrepreneur's adventure. I'm a 2-5 manifesting generator with a Sag midheaven archetype, and I've built it all my way. Now I'm going to teach you to do the same. This is a no cookie cutter advice zone. Here we use personalized and effective systems like astrology and human design to work smarter, not harder, and have a damn good time doing it. Welcome to the Cosmic Cutting Edge. Hello, and welcome back to another amazing episode of the Cosmic Queen podcast. I am so excited for today because we have a very special guest in the building. Woo-hoo! Actually, not literally in the building, it's in the virtual building, in the Cosmic Queen Castle online. So we've got Tanya Jane. I am so excited to introduce her, and I can't wait for you to hear about her incredible career in dance. She now has a second career, which I'll let her tell you about as well, but she had an incredible career and continues to dance. And I love talking to people who are in creative professions. I love talking to people who have become such experts at what they do and have trained so many hours and have perfected their craft, and also looking at their lives, their personality, their skills through the lens of astrology and human design. So in today's episode, we are going to talk all about leadership. We're going to talk all about skills. We're going to talk about a lot of things, creativity, all the things. So I'm excited to get into it. This is part of our Jupiter series where we're looking at people who have achieved a level of fame and success in what they do and how we can see that in their charts. So welcome, Tanya.
Yay! Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
Yay, I'm so happy to have you too. This is going to be amazing. I just know this conversation is going to be so, so inspiring to people, so interesting. It's an area, like what you do is an area that not many people know a lot about. And so, yeah, I just can't wait to hear some of your stories. But first, let me do the official introduction. All right.
Ooh.
Oh, Tanya Jane was born and raised in Sydney, Australia. She has always been a big dreamer and high achiever. Woo! Yes, Capricorn placements. We will talk about this. From moving to LA by herself at 19 to pursue her childhood dream of being a pro dancer and living that dream for over a decade, to building a multi-six-figure coaching business in less than 2 years. Yes, queen. Going after unrealistic dreams is what she is known for. Her mindset coaching business, Elevate 88, began when she realized how passionate she was about helping big dreamers navigate the ups and downs of living the big dreamers lifestyle. Her specialty is focused on the mindset and success principles to raising your belief in what's possible, elevating your self-confidence, and taking your manifestation practice to a whole new level to achieve your biggest dreams. Tanya has now helped hundreds of big dreamers achieve their goals and is excited to continue this mission with Elevate 88.
Yay!
Yay. And we should mention how we met, because I mean, I'm so excited to have you here, not just because you're an inspiration, your story is amazing and I love you, but also we have gotten to know each other over the last year and a half or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in a mastermind together and we just hit it off. And I just knew, I was like, oh my God, we need to stay in touch. We need to be in each other's lives, even though we're an ocean and a continent away.
Literally.
Literally. But I'm so happy that we get to do this together and come together and collaborate once in a while. So I want to ask you, let's kick this all off with a little bit of your story, maybe, and how you got into dance, if you could tell us.
Yeah. So I started dancing really young. I was 5 years old and my mom put me in a jazz class and I loved it. I wasn't very good at it at 5, but I don't know if any 5-year-old is. So, there's videos of me back from my first concert and I just was that kid that stood and waved at the crowd. It didn't dance. And so I started really young. And when I was like 7 or 8, which sounds still very young, I started to compete and started to like be put out there doing like solos and competing against like people in the city and all of this stuff. And I just started winning. And
I love
since
this. I just started winning.
I started winning, and trust me, like I look at these old videos from when I was 7 and my solo, and I'm like, not winning material. Like I don't know who I was up against, but not winning material. Like just not the best, but somehow won. And I think like I've even tried to look back on my childhood and how I grew up and how I was so
Yeah.
confident in it. And I definitely had a skill in it. Like I could pick up choreography really fast. I could execute it really quickly.
Oh,
I could
nice.
remember it really well. So I did really good really young, and I got a lot of like instant gratification from it. Like I got a lot of reward of like, you're really good. Now you're in the front and center. You're really good. We want you here. So it just kind of like it became my life really fast. And I think looking back, it became my life really fast because it was easy for me. I loved it. I was good at it, and I just kept getting rewarded for it. Like it was like it
That's
was great
amazing.
as a kid, like to be good at something like that and be known for it. So
Yeah,
I started to
absolutely.
take it pretty seriously as a young teen. And in Sydney, Australia, I grew up at a studio that was just kind of like right place at the right time for me back then. Like this specific studio had a lot of like the industry, the best people in the industry in Australia teaching at the studio, who were working in the industry on TV shows, on award shows in Australia.
Wow.
So I started working in the industry quite young. So I think I was about 14 when I started to do TV appearances, artist appearances,
Wow.
award. I
Yeah.
was 15 when I did the VMAs in Australia for like a Canadian band that flew out. I don't know why they hired us, but they did. And so I started working really young and had a lot of success really young.
Mm.
So much so that it kind of just felt normal. Like thinking back, it was just like, yeah, of course I'm on like TV this weekend. Like, cool. Like my mom's
That's
driving me.
so
Yeah,
cool.
whose mom's driving us? Where we're getting McDonald's after? Like it was just like the normal thing.
Yeah, that's
So
so nice to hear because I know a lot of, kids that get started in entertainment young, they struggle with that, like not taking it too, like not that it's not taking it seriously, but having a level of like, oh, this is just normal, like this is okay, this is great, I'm not trying to be the best or perfect or whatever, right?
yeah, and I think the situation that I grew up in was very unique because all of my friends at the studio were doing all the same jobs. So it wasn't like I was just like this unicorn dancer, like going off doing all these things.
Mm,
It was like every big job I was with like 5 of my besties, and it was always so fun. And I also went to school, like school with the same people. So we would go to school all day, dance all night, do
right.
jobs all weekend, and we were just
Oh
like
my gosh.
giddy all the time.
That
So
sounds amazing. That just sounds wonderful, honestly. Like that's so nice that you had like the village around you. Like you said, you weren't the
exactly.
one unicorn, you had like the support in the group.
Yes, exactly. And then here's where it gets like I got kind of pretty serious about it was when I first came to LA. I was 14. And I was always obsessed with LA. Like it was just like also it's the dance hub, it's where all the
Mhm.
artists are. So I was like so high on life when I was like such a teen.
Mhm.
And then after that, I came every year after that to train, whether it be two
Wow.
weeks, 10 days, whatever. I came at 15, 16, 17. Like I kept coming back just to
Wow.
train,
That's
just to
really
take
far to
class.
come. Like that's
Yeah.
really, yeah, Australia to California. It's quite far.
Yes. And I had a dancer who's still one of my best friends who's still out here actually, but we grew up together, and she was 4 years older than me, and she was coming on a solo trip, and I was graduating high school, and she was like, I want to bring you with me on my solo trip so you can come by yourself without your mom and dad. It'll just be me and you can kind of feel it out and see how you like it.
Mhm.
Because I was like so determined to move here.
Mhm.
And I missed my high school graduation, and I remember like my parents had to have a meeting with the principal with me because they were like, she's gonna regret this. Like she's missing her graduation. She's gonna regret this. I was like, I don't think so. I'm going to
You're
LA.
like,
Do you?
I'm traveling the world. Like, I don't think you
I don't think I miss
understand.
it. So
Wow.
that was like my growing up, my upbringing. And now being a mindset coach and being really deep into manifestation, it's crazy because so many of the principles that we know and that we teach, I was doing that quite young. Like I put up a world map in my room when I was about 15 and I circled Sydney and I circled LA and I drew an arrow and I would stare at it. Like I was so aggressive. I was like, every day.
This is amazing. It's giving six placements in Capricorn. Like, I'm loving this.
Yeah.
I will
So
have what I want. I will climb this mountain.
totally. So that was kind of a long-winded story of my childhood, but I did end up moving here really, it kind of unfolded so magically and so like perfect timing too. I came on a vacation, like just as a holiday, in January of 2012, and I was planning to come here for a month. And it was the first time I was gonna be here on my own. I was staying at a hotel, and basically I was here for 4 weeks, gonna train my butt off and then go back to Australia and whatnot. Obviously, the goal was to move, but I didn't even know how that process works, what that's like. So I wasn't actively trying to move in that moment, but it was always the dream. And when I was in LA at that time, I was meeting people, and I was at lunch one day and I saw some of the dancers that I just had taken class with the day before. And they were like, oh, this agency, one of the biggest agencies in LA that signs dancers, is auditioning. You should go. And I literally left lunch, got a taxi. Ubers didn't even exist. Like this is how freaking long ago.
The
I didn't
old
even have
days.
Airbnbs. I was in a hotel. And so I got a taxi back to my hotel. I brought my headshot and resume because prepared
Always.
just in case. And I went to this audition, so nervous, and I got signed. And like I got signed to a dance agency. And in that moment, I was like, tears were like, I was like, is this actually happening? And then they brought me in for a meeting to sign my contract. And they were like, do you want to move? Are you planning to move? What do you want to do? And I was like, I want to move. Like, yes, tell me what to do. I'll do it. And they were like, okay, we're going to give you the immigration lawyer. Obviously I had to pay for that, but they were like, we're gonna give you the contact. We'll email him to try and get you in quickly because we know that you're leaving. It happened just like this. Like it was like I emailed him. He was like, I usually am not open, but I randomly have a spot tomorrow. Can you come in? Can you bring these documents?
The
I like
stars
was up.
align.
Yeah, literally. I was up all night with my parents on Skype because Zoom didn't exist.
Yeah, I remember Skype. I remember.
Yeah. On Skype, getting them to scan all my like newspaper articles, all of my like work from Australia, because when you move, you have to show that you've worked in your country. Went to this interview. He was like, you have everything. We can file this quickly. And long story short, I never left. And I'm still here 12 years later.
Yes, I love this. Oh my gosh, this is incredible. And so when you like tell people a little bit more about like the kind of dance that you do as well, because you've also, I mean, had such amazing like opportunities to dance on stage with big artists, festivals, like all this kind of stuff. Tell us a little bit about like what that was like. Did that all happen when you moved here? Well, you did say that there was a lot of that you did in Sydney, but did most of that happen here?
Yes. So I worked a lot in Australia, and obviously I was young, and like I said, it was kind of the normal thing. So when I finally moved to LA, I got smacked with reality of like no one knows you here.
Mm,
You got to start from scratch.
mhm.
And I booked jobs so easily as a kid. So I
Yeah.
was like, here I am at auditions with thousands of girls who look exactly like me. There's 4 spots, 2 spots. Like you got to fight. You got to like
Wow.
kill the dance floor
Oh yeah,
literally.
I mean, dance is so competitive. This is why I love like that this is such a great topic for this podcast because it's so competitive, right? And it's so you have to be so good at what you do, but then there's also such a personal element to it as well. I feel like a personal style, confidence, brand, how much did
Yes.
that come into play? Yeah, to differentiate.
Um, so much, like all the things. But to answer your first question, the type of dance that I did. I trained in everything except ballroom. Like I didn't really go down that route, but everything that we kind of call it commercial. So that's basically like everything you see on TV, the artist stuff, the music videos, that kind of style is covering like jazz all the way to hip hop. So it's like a very versatile kind of style, can be whatever, but it's a commercial style.
Yeah.
So that's what I work in mostly. Well, that's what I worked in. And yeah, so the audition aspect of the industry is very normal, even though it sounds, now that I'm out of the industry to an extent, and I look at it from a different lens, I'm like, this shit is crazy. This shit is crazy.
Sounds
Like
intense.
it's crazy. And you know, it was very normal. Like I didn't even bat an eyelid. I knew what I was getting myself into. Auditions for especially like major artists or tours or just anything that's of a high caliber is usually around like 500 to 1,000 girls.
Wow.
There's usually no more than 10 spots. That's like huge. If there is 10 spots, and most of the time, you know, some of the spots are already taken. So they may only be looking for really one or two. And you've got to be kind of a specific height with the kind of hair color. Like there's so many things that go into it. But an audition for a big audition looks like multiple days, 8 to 15-hour days,
Oh my God.
unpaid, no food, standing outside, rehearsing on concrete, going in round after round after round after round, fighting, come back the next day, again.
Wow.
And then if you, let's say, and this has happened to me so many times, like made it through the days, get to the end, there's like 8 girls left, they're looking for 3, and you've like put 3 days of like blood, sweat, and tears, and then you don't get it, you know? And it's like 3 days unpaid, like your body's broken, you probably like ruined your knee a little, got some scratches, maybe your shoulder's like a bit pulled out. Like it's so physically demanding for such little return. But this is like one of my biggest things that when I was very heavy in the industry that I would tell younger dancers that want to come to LA is don't have a plan B, because you have to be all in. And I was like, if I had a plan B, I wouldn't have been able to stay as long as I did and do the grind, you know, because if there was something tempting me to go back home, I would have taken it.
Yeah, because it's so intense, so demanding, so exhausting. And it just sounds like it was such an incredible training ground for being in business because you're like, oh, this is nothing. This is nothing compared to what I had to go through. And this is why I've always been really fascinated with dancers and just have so much admiration for dance because it's everything. It's physical, it's emotional, it's mindset. You have to be strong across the board, right? Would you say?
100%. And when you're at an audition, when you walk in the room, I'm also walking in the room with my best friends who I have here, my roommates with me, and we're competing against each other. Like we may have drove together and she gets cut and I stay. So then I have to get an Uber home if like, you know, whatever. But it's very interesting. But the mindset is like, you've got to know you're the shit. Like, it's like, you've got to literally be so in the zone of like, I'm so good, I'm gonna kill it. Like, otherwise you can't fight that hard, you know, or it's an energy and you can feel it. Like, I've also been on the other side of an audition where I've been like assisting one or like helping run one. And the way the dancers come in, the way when their number gets called and they come out on the floor, you can feel who's in that energy of, I got it.
Who's like turned it on. They're like, I'm
you can
like,
see it.
You need to hire me, obviously.
Literally, you can see it. And like, when you come out to actually audition, you're obviously auditioning in front of everyone. But you usually audition about 5 to 8 people, so at a time. And there's a section of each audition where you have to freestyle, whether it's mostly before and after. So you have the combination that you just learned and you better kill it. You better slay it. You have 35 seconds to book yourself this job, which for me was also how I paid my bills. So there was like this whole passion on pressure, like Yeah.
Pressure. Yeah. Oh, we'll definitely talk about pressure in your human design. But what I wanted you to finish what you were going to say about the freestyle bit.
Oh yeah. So then when it comes to freestyle, like you are like fighting for your life. Like it is like if there's
Like
8 girls, like
RuPaul, lip sync for your life.
fighting for your life. There is
Yeah.
8 girls. You have people coming up to the table doing head whips. You have people backflipping. You have people, and I could never do tricks like that. So I was
Yeah.
like just relying on my stamina and stability to like
Yeah.
nail this.
Yeah.
But it was just like, it's like, look at me, look at me. It's like so much attention, you know, it's crazy. It's
That's
crazy.
so fascinating. Oh my God, I love this so much. Can I bring up some of your cosmic blueprint? Because this, like, as you're describing this, I can see so many of the strengths in your charts that like helped you to deal with all this. That helped you to make it through. Because I think that, you know, like you're right, there are a lot of people who probably get into these situations, get into dance, and they're like, whoa, like this is not for me. I can't cut it. Like I can't cut it and I don't want to, and this is not for me. But you were successful and you thrived and you did it, you know? And so it's like, what is it? Like before I go to your chart, like what do you think it is in you? It's that tenacity, it's that, you know, ability to kind of always stay focused on the goal. Like what would you say it is that
I just wanted it bad. Like that's honestly like, as that's the easiest way to describe it. Like
yeah.
I wanted it so bad, and I wanted, like, I would visualize it every night, like, and it was an unhealthy amount of, you know, want, you know. It was, I try to not recreate that same desire in the way that I live my life now, because I think
Mhm.
it's just not healthy
Mhm.
to like be that aggressive in the want for it.
Mhm.
But again, I also say that and say, I don't think I could have withstood what needed to be done if I didn't want it that bad, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
that type
Mhm.
of an industry. Um, I
I
just
think that
wanted,
makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. And I remember right before the pandemic, yeah, like 2019, because I was 28, I think, in 2019, yeah, or 27, I don't remember. But I remember in my apartment, and I just moved in with my now husband. So my life was starting to like, you know, go down a like evolve.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't just this single young girl in LA anymore. I now had a man and we were living together. And I
Mhm.
remember like being so upset about a job that didn't come through, or that I got put on, I can't remember what it was. And I just remember being like, am I ever going to get over this?
Mm.
Am I ever going to be able to move on with my life? Like, I want it so bad. And it's been this way since I can remember, since I was a teen. Like, the youngest memory is LA, LA. So I just like remember being like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to let it go. And then the pandemic happened, and it was the biggest blessing because it forced me to have to look elsewhere. It forced me. Like, I swear, Rachel, like, if there was no pandemic, I would still be out there, like, trying to kill it.
I love if you're watching the video, you can see her do some moves.
I would be fighting for it.
I
I
love
would.
it. Yeah. Elbows sharpened, ready to go.
Yeah.
Kickball change. Yes, I love it. That's so good. But I this is so fascinating because you're right. It's like with all of our strengths and gifts, there is always a shadow side. There is
Mhm.
always a, oh, but this could go too far, or this could be too much, or this could be, you know, damaging in some way. So I want to talk about your astrology first. So I love, oh my gosh, I just see so much of your story in your chart, which is so beautiful. So you are a sun in Aquarius, moon in Taurus, and Aries rising. Yes.
I'm
Um,
like, I don't know what that means, but yeah.
yes, yes. But what I wanted to point out is that you have this beautiful grand trine in Earth. And anyone who knows astrology, or maybe you're learning astrology or interested in it, when you have a grand trine in your chart, this shows talent. So it shows that there is this talent that someone has, but it needs a lot of fire and guts and like, let's go get them to appear. So that talent can easily kind of be lazy. It can easily kind of just sit there and just be unrecognized unless you have this fire under your butt to like get out there and make it happen. And so yeah, which you do in spades. And so that grand trine in Earth, anyone who has a grand trine in Earth, which means that they have, a strong placement in Virgo, in Taurus, and in Capricorn, means that they're often going to be skilled in some kind of role or career or industry that has to do with the body.
Mm.
And so that makes a lot of sense.
Crazy.
Yeah, cue Megan the Stallion's body yada yada right now. Like that
Yeah.
exactly. That's the theme song of the Grand Trine in Earth. Okay. And so yeah, people with the Grand Trine in Earth, they have some kind of skill that has to do with the physical, and usually it's either money or it's the body.
Mm.
For you, I feel like it's both.
Yeah.
You know.
Crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. And so of course you were going to end up like learning to master the body, learning to use the body in your art, in your work, in your self-expression. And then the other thing that I think is really powerful is all of this Capricorn, which I love. I remember I saw your chart, I was like, oh my goodness. And so she has 6 placements in Capricorn. And so when someone has that many placements in a sign, you know that's going to be a really strong part of their, it's going to like show a really strong theme. And Capricorn is the sea goat. It's all about like climbing the mountain. It's all about being brave, courageous, and committed. It's all
That's
about all
me.
those things. Yeah, that's you.
I
To
love a
a
good
T.
climb, apparently.
To a T. And so it's like this dogged determination where it's willing to go into the unknown. So that's why, because you have your midheaven here. So I always, in my cosmic leadership archetypes, I call this midheaven Capricorn the pioneer. And I think that's very apt for you. And it's that person who's willing to go into the unknown, willing to embrace the fear and kind of run towards it, and willing to realize that it's going to be hard and there's going to be lots of challenges. That's the whole climbing the mountain thing. There's going to be lots of challenges. It's not going to be easy. The air up there is thin. There's competitive. You need to have everything together. You need to have your tool belts, right? And your team, but they never give up. Would you say that that describes you?
Yeah. Yes. To a
100%.
T.
And
Oh my God. Yeah. 100%.
yeah, and it makes so much sense. And what's really interesting is, you do have the Aries rising. And so I like to talk about the difference between the rising and the midheaven. Like the rising sign is our inner motivation. And so when you talk about the thing that you think that helped you get there was desire, and commitment to that desire, that's the Aries. And a bit of the Capricorn, but that's very much the Aries. And Aries rising is like that internal, like, I am on a mission. And it's like, and I always describe it as like a horse with blinders. Like they cannot see what's on the side. They will
Yeah.
not be distracted, and that's exactly how you describe your journey with dance.
It's crazy. This is like, you could be like just talking to me without even the astrology, but I'd be like, yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds like me.
We just happen to
Yeah.
be having this conversation on a podcast, it's good.
Yeah. Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so cool to see that. But then in your career, the energy in your career that attracts things to you is the Capricorn. And so I want to see what you think of this. Like, because we talk about the audition process, which is the process of being chosen, right? So the processes of being chosen that you've experienced, from childhood to now in dance, a lot of people, some astrologers will tell you to look at your rising sign for your brand. I am telling you, no, look at your midheaven for your brand. The rising sign Aries is more of an internal motivation and more about like, okay, this is what gets me out of the house. This is what gets me out of the country. This is what gets me on the plane. Like I'm motivated. And so that's the desire and the mission and the passion. But I think what people would have hired you for, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, is yeah, passion, desire, great. But actually, I think what they hired you for is like, you're committed. Like you will never give up, never surrender. Like you will be the person who's there first thing in the morning, last thing at night, will learn it back to front. And also we could also bring in your Jupiter Virgo here. But I think that midheaven, when anyone who's listening, you're looking at your chart and thinking, okay, how can I apply this to me? Look at your midheaven. The sign of your midheaven is what attracts people to you. And so people see that and they're like, I need to hire her because of the Capricorn. What do you think about that?
I love it. And I I completely agree. I feel like with my coaching business,
Mhm.
my like something that I feel like is my edge is that I've been living a lifestyle that's very like, unknown, fear. You need the courage for so long that
Yeah.
it feels very normal for me and it feels very safe for someone to lean into my certainty that you will
Yes.
be okay because I've
Yes.
been here for a very long time.
Yes, no, that's exactly it. When people are attracted to working with us as coaches, it's like they'll see something in us, in our personality, in our experiences, in who we are, in our essence, that they say, yeah, that's what I want. And I think for you, it is exactly that. It is the courageousness, the
Mhm.
willingness to, no matter what, like the willingness to go through things that are hard, but never
Mhm.
give up. And that's what is going to attract people to you. So, yeah. So in your brand, if I was like talking about branding stuff, I would say, okay, always tell those stories, just like you are today. Like tell those stories of how you like against the odds kind of stories and no matter what kind of stories. And this is not going to stop me kind of stories. Those are the stories that are really
Ooh.
going to showcase the side of you that is just so,
I'm like,
so
hold on,
magnetic.
let me get my notes. Let me write this down.
Yeah, yeah, it's so good. It's so interesting. As a contrast, if you were in Aries midheaven, I would tell you to tell stories about how you break the rules and you're a rebel and no one can tell you what to do. But because see the contrast, so it's
Yeah.
similar but contrasted. So the Capricorn is more about commitment, courage, and like getting through and never giving up.
Yes. Oh, I love this. This is the best podcast interview ever. I'm just getting a reading. This is so sick.
I love to look at people's stories, yeah, through the lens of the cosmic. Let's talk about human design really quick. Okay, so and I know you love human design, don't you? Like you're
Yes.
really
You were my first introduction to it because I had a reading with you and I knew I was like projector 3-5, but I was like, I don't know what that means.
yeah.
So yeah.
I know, right? And there's so much, and I love to kind of have you here as an example of a very highly motivated, high energy, high achieving, high everything
Yeah.
projector, because there is a lot, and I'm sure you've read it, right? There's a lot of, I think, like language out there about projectors where it just makes it seem like you're just tired all the time and you just need to be in a dark room taking a nap like
Yeah.
24/7. And that is not true of all projectors. And it's for a very important reason. So you are the kind of projector that we call an energy projector. So you have two motor centers defined. You have the solar plexus and then you have the root, and you have this like really powerful fuel energy. Your root center is very, very strong. And so whereas a lot of the kind of conventional advice for projectors, I would say doesn't exactly apply to you. And so, yeah, it's really interesting. So conventional advice for projectors is like you have to have a really tight niche, and that you don't have any energy. And I would say neither of those things apply to you.
Yeah. I know I do read some of these things and I'm like, I could never. Like I have
Yeah,
so much energy, like I have to it like does not stop sometimes.
it does not.
And
That's the root. That's the root.
but I also love it. Like I
Yeah.
really like I only do what I'm passionate about and I do it to a very high extent. Like I go all in. I'm an all or nothing type of gal. So
Yes.
when I started my business, it was the same energy that went into dance, but now was just directed into my business. I wanted
Yes.
to learn. I want to know what's going on. I want to better my skills. I want to put my content out. So
Yeah.
I'm willing to do the things and I enjoy it. Like I'm
I
very
love this.
passionate about it.
Yeah, and very motivated. I mean, going
Yeah.
back to the root center, like we talked about pressure, you have 11 planet placements in your root, out of, I should know exactly how many. 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. What's 13 times 2 out of 26? So you have 11 out of 26 of your planets are in one center, which is the root center, which is fuel, motivation, and drive, commitment, and the ability to get up and go. So
So
yeah,
I was
you've got a lot
basically
of energy.
born to push.
You were born to push, baby. Yes, like
Yeah.
nothing's gonna stop you. Like never give up. Like all that stuff it's so you, and you see it in the
It
astrology.
is.
And you see it in the human design. And so I just want to talk about pressure for a minute, because I think it's really interesting. Like, in human design, there are two pressure centers, the head and the root. Usually, if people have these two centers open, that means that they often are not going to thrive with a strict schedule. They're not going to thrive under pressure at all. They need to find ways, find strategies, find processes of relieving the pressure so that they don't have to like have deadlines, and like it just, pressure is not good for them. They fold under pressure. You are the opposite, my dear. You thrive under pressure.
I do. It's so, I mean, I don't know if it's a good thing, but like, I definitely do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know my best work happens when I'm like kind of a little last minute, but I also, I remember like even there was a part in the last few years that when I was in the industry, I started doing more on the creative side, meaning I was doing like more creative direction and choreography for TV shows.
Oh,
So instead
wow.
of dancing in front of it, we were hiring the dancers, we were teaching
Yeah.
them, we were doing this stuff.
This is so crazy.
And
I was going to ask you if you were often hired in leadership positions to teach, because that's also a Capricorn midheaven thing. So I'm like, you're not just the talent, you're also like a leader. Yeah.
yeah, and I loved it. I loved the responsibility. And also TV is like a beast of its own. Like the type of pressure that we have to deal with on that. Like, let me set the scene. Like
Okay.
this has happened so many times on so many different TV shows that it's just like, I guess how TV gets built, but everything's so last minute, everything is money. So, like an extra day is so much money for a production. So it's like cutting time, cutting whatever. So when we're dancing, when we have a performance for an artist or for whatever the talent is on the show, we need the music. We also need the creative vision to set the piece. So if there was something like for TV shows, there's already a pre-designed template.
Like on Saturday Night Live when they have the musical guests and then they have the dancers, right? Yeah.
Yes. So then our rehearsal gets scheduled. We teach them. We do a tech. The lighting guys do their thing, and then we film it. It's really fast. But most of the time, we get to rehearsal. Music's not been approved yet. Creative vision's not been approved yet. We finish rehearsal. We put something on them and be like, we don't have what we need yet to even have the rehearsal, but we're in rehearsal. We have tech that evening or the next morning.
My goodness.
We get the music either that night. We rehearse literally right before tech. And most of the time we throw the dancers out there and be like, good luck. I don't know.
Why does it not surprise me? It's kind of similar in theater world. Like theater, I think, is maybe a little bit better because it's not as immediate. You have more rehearsal, but it's still like, just make it work. Like,
and this is like live TV. Like, it's so stressful. Like, even as the dancer, like being in this position, it's like, if I do something insane on camera or I run into the artist, like, career is over. Like, it's so much pressure.
So much pressure, but like, thank God you were like born for it.
Yeah, I do. Yes.
It's so interesting. Yeah. And like, the last thing I kind of want to point out in your human design, there's so many things that we could talk about. Oh my God. I mean, your human design is so beautiful. You do have the Genius to Freak channel, by the way. I know we've talked about this before, but anyone who has the 4323, which is between the ajna and the throat, like there's something, they think differently. They think differently about the world, and that helps other people to awaken and think differently too. And it's so cool. I love that.
Ooh, I love this for me.
Yeah, I love this for you too. And I think it fits really well with the last thing I was going to say was your 3-5-ness. So being a 3-5, like I would love for you to kind of speak a little, well, I have two specific questions. On the third line, a lot of times people who have a third line in their profile, they are born to experiment and try things and fail and get up and fail and get up and succeed and fail and get up and succeed. And that's part of their cycle, is like just allowing yourself to make mistakes and to do stuff and get your hands in there and get dirty. Have you ever felt like, well, first of all, does that resonate? And secondly, have you ever felt like shame around failure, or have you always been someone who's like, nope, dust it off, keep going?
What's so interesting is I actually did a live yesterday, which was also my podcast recording. I kind of doubled it up on this exact topic.
No way,
Because,
of course.
yeah, on like overcoming past failures and past disappointments
Oh,
to
perfect.
manifest your next dream, manifest your next goal.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, that resonates completely. And I
Mhm.
think when I was in the dance industry, before I started to really dive into mindset and energetics and all of this stuff that I do now, I
Mhm.
didn't know how to handle that. And I also was quite young. So I didn't know how to handle the disappointment and what I would think is a failure, while
Yeah.
also being so heartbroken, needing to pay my bills. Like there was so many things.
Yeah.
And basically what I was saying yesterday is when I started my business, I already knew, like I know the game of success includes the game of failure. Like you cannot have one without the other. It
Cannot.
is,
Mhm.
yeah, we got to get over it. And this
Yeah.
is literally what I
Yeah.
was saying in my live yesterday. I was like, it's a part of the game, and you will not get to where you need to be without the lesson from that failure. And
Yes.
I spent a decade letting the disappointment weigh me down, and it slowed me down. It
Yeah.
held me back from being in the right rooms, from putting myself out there the way that I should have. Even
Mhm.
though I had a very successful career, I know I held myself back because of the disappointment and the way that made me feel. Then I started to view myself differently. Maybe I shouldn't. And when I started my business, it was fail quick, fail fast. Let's do it. It's a part of it. Get over it. We're not going to let this be a bad thing. I have to start embracing it,
Yes.
because if I want the success that I want, this is a part of the journey. So why are we making it a negative experience?
Mhm. Oh, powerful. That is like the mic drop. Then that's really what you can, oops, I don't know what that is. Oh, it's my alarm. And that is what you can help people to realize and to recognize,
Yeah.
because through your example, you can help people to recognize that, like, yeah, sometimes we fail. Yeah, sometimes things go wrong, but you have to keep picking yourself up, and that's how you win. That's how you win in the end, is the person
Yeah.
that picks themselves up the most times, right? Like Michael Jordan didn't make his high school basketball team. There's so many examples of people
So
who
many
failed.
examples.
Yeah, so many
I'm
examples.
not, and I always say this too. I'm like, I'm not saying it's easy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's normal. Like it's okay. You're
Yes.
okay. It's fine. Feel what you need to feel. I'm not saying you can't have your feelings, but because I definitely have them too. But if we start to shift the perspective, like you move through these emotions so much quicker, and then you can go
Mhm.
get shit done, which is what you need to
Exactly.
do.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my God, so good. Okay, I want to close on our last question. So I have this. Thank you so much. I just have to say, for everything that you have shared with us today. I just feel like it is so beautiful, so inspiring to hear someone's journey and to hear the things that they've learned along the way and how they're applying them now. And you've given us so many reminders and so much inspiration. Like, thank you, Tanya. This is
Oh,
amazing.
thank you for having
Yes,
me.
absolutely. So I'm gonna ask you these rapid fire questions, and then I'll ask you to share with us how people can find you and what you're doing next.
Okay.
So this is a little questionnaire. I like to do this with my guests. We're going to end with my version of the famous rapid fire questionnaire, which was originated by Proust, reimagined by Bernard Pivot and James Lipton, and now Rachel Starr. Here we go.
I'm nervous.
I know, so fun. I'm such a nerd. If any of you used to watch Inside the Actor Studio, this is that questionnaire, but Rachelified. Okay, number one. What is your favorite word?
Dream.
Mm. What is your least favorite word?
Hustle.
It's ironic.
Yeah.
What is your favorite curse word?
I think all of them. I love
Oh,
them.
all of them.
I love them. I
No,
love the
you have
rainbow
to
of
pick
curse
one.
words.
Yeah, but you stub your toe. What do you say?
Probably the F word.
You can say it, I think.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure we could say it now. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
uh, Passion. Anything that I do, when you know that feeling when it's just like you're all in it, like you're just
Yeah.
like flowing so well and it's so passionate, and you're just so lit up by what you're doing, the action, the creative flow, like that passion energy. I think, yeah.
Love that. What turns you off?
Proving yourself that, what's the word?
Imposter syndrome?
That, but it's like, oh, I forget, but just like that prove it energy, like,
Mm.
I don't feel good enough, but I hope you think I'm good enough. Like, ugh.
Like pick me energy.
Yeah. Considering I came from that. Yeah.
What is so you could pick one of these. What is your favorite book, movie, or podcast right now?
Ooh, this book right here, Feel Free to Prosper.
Ooh,
I think
nice.
I talked to you about this.
No, I feel like you've told me, but like I have not read it yet. So I need to find that.
Oh my, Feel Free to Prosper. Favorite.
What profession other than yours would you like to attempt?
I feel like I could be a good TV host.
Oh yeah, I could see that. You've also got the
I think I would
megawatt
like that.
smile. You could do that. You've got the megawatt smile. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like I'd
So,
like that.
I think you'd be so good. You'd be so good at interviewing people. What profession would you not like to do?
Lots. So many.
It's like the worst, the lowest of the low.
The garbage man.
Okay, yeah. Shout out to our sanitation workers. We love
Yeah, thank
you.
you. Thank you.
What
Yeah.
would our world be without you? But we don't want to do that job. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
you,
much.
but I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I'm always amazed by them. Like I'm seriously, I am. And then what so for life or work, what like kind of area or topic or theme in life or work would you like to experience or learn about next? So like kind of what's next for you? What are you learning? What do you want to do?
Like a topic?
Yeah, like is there something even something small that you want to learn about or you want to do or you want to experience, skydiving,
Oh, I
knitting,
mean, oh,
ice plunge baths.
we're so opposite. I definitely want to go to Greece. I don't know if that's a
Ooh,
topic. I feel
yes.
like that all that in Santorini where you stay with like all the white on the thing.
Yes.
It's like been on
And
my
the
vision board for
cats.
so long. It's got to
Mm.
happen.
Santorini is beautiful. I have been there. It is exactly, it looks like that. Like it looks
Oh,
like that.
I
Yeah. It's
want
so nice.
it.
It's legit. It's legit. So nice.
It's delicious.
Oh, thank you so much. You
Yay!
flying colors. You passed. No, I'm just kidding.
Nailed it.
You did so great. I love these answers. I always think it's really interesting to see what people share with us. So tell us, how can people find you? How can they get into your world and follow the story?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram all the time, pretty much daily. My Instagram handle is at the Tanya Jane, and I do have my own podcast that you can plug into. I have a bunch of really fun freebies that you can even download and start working on your mindset. And I have I've been referring it to as secret project, but I have a really, really incredible big program that I have been putting together for months, and it is going to be the go-to for big dreamers doing big things and how to normalize these ups and downs, how to believe in themselves, like unshakable belief. Like it is going to be so amazing. And that comes out in about 2 weeks. So
Oh
stay
my
tuned.
God, for Aries season, perfect timing.
Is
Yes. Yes, Aries season starts in a week. I'm so excited for you. Probably about when this podcast comes out. And the name of your podcast is
Oh, Big Dreamers Bible.
Big Dreamers Bible. Amazing. You heard it here first, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I'm so happy that I got to have Tanya Jane here on the Jupiter series, getting to know people and the success that they've achieved and how you can really see them use their powerful uniqueness from their astrology and their human design. You are an inspiration, Tanya Jane, and I can't wait to see you around on the internet and hopefully in person soon.
Yes. Oh my God, please. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone have a beautiful day. And as we always say here at Cosmic Queen, keep reaching for the stars.